truly, before now, I didn't really know what actually a mouthpiece was designed for, other than to keep you from clinking your teeth together or biting your tongue. I had no idea that it was to align your jaw. The season that we did not use the Power Plus, we lost 4 kids, 2 that were season-ending concussions, and obviously we contributed to the Power Plus mouth guard because, like I said, we've not had one since we've been using them. Obviously, we've competed a lot better than what we did last year. We have not had a concussion this season. Obviously, a tremendous factor for us for not losing kids, and their performance level is a lot higher as well. My son was actually the quarterback on the second state championship team, but one of the things that he was able to do as being the quarterback, the mouth guard was on the lower part of his bite, so he was able to speak clearly. And that's a huge thing in athletics, is to be able to communicate.
Here at L4 Media, we talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie, and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. So like and subscribe and check us out.
Struggling with mobility, chronic pain, work, or sports injury? At Azalea Orthopedics, our team of highly trained physicians specialize in complete orthopedic care, pain management, sports medicine, physical medicine, and rehabilitation. If you've sustained a bone or joint injury, have mobility or movement problems, struggle with pain, contact Azalea Orthopedics. We're conveniently located across East Texas, serving 18 counties. When visiting your doctor, urgent care, or hospital, you have a choice. Demand Azalea. At Azalea Orthopedics, your health is our priority.
The Northeast Texas Sports Network is dedicated on delivering the most entertaining sports broadcasts in East Texas. And if you're interested in having your next sporting event streamed live, visit us online at netsn.live.
Welcome, everyone, to the bEast from the East show. It's your boy, Brett Swinney here, alongside of some other cast of characters on NetSN. We've got Mr. Red Zone with us, Kyle Owens. Our newest member of NetSN, our newest color commentator, Christian Blevins, is joining us today. Coach Jeremy Hubbard and your boy CM. How's it going, fellas?
Good.
It's going.
How'd you do last week? I know one particular person that he bragged last week, but 2 weeks in a row, Mr. Red Zone.
Hey, this week is actually the perfect week. 10-0. So I'll pat myself on the back for that one. I appreciate my picking. So if you're watching this, you should listen to my picks. I know what I'm talking about.
He made sure to mention that right after everything was settled in on Friday. He made sure to mention that.
That's just what I looked at.
Okay.
I didn't see no other acknowledgments. So, I looked at it and I saw, there's only one person that went 10-0. It's me. Let me make sure people know that I went 10-0.
Yeah, a week winner. One of our somebody from NetSN's got to win one of the weeks, right? I mean,
what do I get?
Huh?
What do I get?
Well, you have a lanyard. That's normally what we pass out for our winners. But would you like another lanyard?
That's all right. I got 2 of them actually. So
Unless you keep winning, then you might have your eyes set on that nice belt.
that's where I'm that tiny belt. That's why I'm going after.
Hey.
I just want to say welcome to the 10-0 Club, KO.
Hey,
Took
thank
you a
you,
little bit to
Jeremy.
get there with me, but it was lonely in here.
Yeah.
So glad you got here.
Yeah,
I was pretty pumped about my 9-1.
I was too.
Until I saw the 10-0, and I was like, "Dadgum."
Hey, the good news is that Diggs didn't gain any on me because he only went 9-1 too, so that was good.
Man, I'm trying to get back on. I'm not having to. I'm tired of scrolling to see my name on the overall. So I'm just below it. I'm in 19th, I think now. So I'm getting there. Tied. There's a bunch of us there, but we're working on it.
Christian, did you pick this week?
No, so when I tried to, my phone was dead, and then after
Oh.
that, I didn't think nothing about it.
Okay. Well, the good news for you is we start all over. You can pick this week. Corey, how'd you do?
Can't remember what 6-4, something like that. 5-5, 6-4, something like that.
Okay.
A couple upsets didn't go my way, but that's to be expected.
Well, if you'd have won the Lindale game, man, that could have turned your years around.
The disrespect.
Country game, Lindale game.
Wow.
For Lindale? 1 vote for Lindale?
That was Corey, I think.
Hey.
I couldn't believe that either. I was
surprised it was only 1. That would have been a steal. You would have gained on everybody.
I mean, but hey, somebody's got to do it. Can't always be the,
really, I thought the whole week was really kind of skewed. Like there were very few picks that were even close to even. I mean,
yeah,
none of.
It was interesting.
I knew it was gonna go bad. I knew it was gonna go bad on Saturday, because I mean, if a weird week happens, typically it's not very good for Texas and OU. So
we don't. That's the one way to get you off the show real quick, there, Christian. Start moving the horns down.
I said 28-27 OU, but I didn't think like I was telling guys before the show. I didn't think Gabriel was gonna do what he did. So, Bob Stoops' son is good. He's pretty good.
Oh, anything doesn't have burn on.
Well, here's. I know quite a few Oklahoma fans. For some reason, I don't understand why I do, but I told them this. I said, "Congratulations, because if you don't beat us in December, it was for nothing." So,
pretty much.
Because if we win in December, we're going to play off, and you're going to go to the Cotton Bowl. So, congratulations there. So, we'll see, man.
Yeah, Big 12 championship.
I'd rather lose this one and win the last one than
exactly.
So
because we already have our as long as Alabama keeps winning for us and does,
they're going to win out. They're going to win the SEC. By the way, Georgia doesn't have a chance against Alabama this year. I'm just throwing it out there because Saban is not a happy camper, and it's just going to keep getting better. And then when they're 12-1 and we're 12-1, and we beat them, we'll be in the playoff. Yeah. So it'll be good.
Well, the good news about the picks, guys, is we can again trash them away and start over. So let's go for it. Week 8 of the Pick'ems. Game 1, Jefferson, Atlanta, guys. Man, this to me, I looked at this game preseason. I was like, man, this could be for the district championship. But now that I've seen Atlanta, they're just not as good as they have been this year. Jefferson has been pretty solid. 4-1 right now. They lost to Timpson, which how many people can we say that about on our Pick'ems? Probably a lot.
6 of them.
Wow.
And they schedule a tough schedule. They've been destroying folks. Minus that game, they won 41-0 over New Boston, 64-0 over Hugh Springs, 41-0 over Centerville, and 71-18 over White Oak. Man, I don't even know that there's a choice here. It's got to be Atlanta, or got to be Jefferson here. Nothing else to say there, really.
Yeah, I think they're the most complete team in the district. I mean, it's hard to look at the rest of it. Tatum, they can score points, but they're also giving up a ton of points. Sabine, who knows what they are now? Mount Vernon, who knows what they are? Atlanta beat Sabine last week. Gladewater is over. I mean, who thought that was coming, right? So, I mean, I'm with you, Brett. If you'd asked me a month ago, I'd have told you Atlanta was the pick here, hands down. But I look at it now and the work they've put out, and I'm I'm going with Jefferson too. I think it's the safe pick.
Outside of the Timpson game for Jefferson, they've given up 18 points all season long. So defense, we always talk about defense will win championships. And Atlanta got an impressive win over Sabine last week. I was surprised by it. But yeah, no way they're beating Jefferson this week. So give me the Bulldogs.
I was really impressed, looking at the highlights. I was impressed with, Jefferson's defensive line and their offensive line both. So, yeah, give me Jefferson this week.
Oh, it's my turn. Okay, I'm picking Jefferson straight up. I'm gonna pick a bulldog over a rabbit any day.
I like it. I like it.
That's a solid strategy, Corey. I like that.
All right. Game 2. Sabine Gladewater. Big rivalry game here, guys. It's hard to even imagine that I'm going to go with Sabine here. Like, how far has Gladewater fallen when I'm picking Sabine to beat Gladewater? Sabine, they've been solid. I mean, the teams they've beaten, we don't know how good they are. We know Spring Hill's not real good. That was a win. Wascom is down. Mount Vernon win was the one that kind of surprised me. But I think looking at their schedule here, they're going to beat White Oak. They're going to beat Gladewater. I think you got Tatum and I think they get fourth in this district here behind Tatum, Jefferson, and Atlanta, and I think they make the playoffs. That's a big accomplishment for that out there at Sabine. So, I'm going to go with Sabine here in this one.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm struggling on this one. Right now I have wrote down Sabine, but that is subject to change throughout the week, depending on how I feel. Because honestly, I don't know what Sabine is, but it's really hard to get a gauge on what Gladewater is because they played such a tough non-district. They're playing Dangerfield, Mount Vernon, Malakoff, and Gunner, all in non-district play. So
can I give you a stat though, Mr. Owens?
Please.
So here's what I go by. I see a common opponent on the schedule. It's Spring Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Gladewater lost to Spring Hill. To me, I mean, if you lose, no offense to Spring Hill, but they're not good. And Sabine beat Spring Hill. So to me, that's all I need to see.
That's why I have Sabine wrote down. That's why I'm picking Sabine, because of the common opponent. But with that being said, I don't think Gladewater is your common 0-6 team. Like sometimes you look at an 0-6 team like Jacksonville, for example. It's not a good football team. I don't think Gladewater is that way. I think Gladewater is actually maybe a decent football team, not a state championship caliber team by any means, but I think they could be fighting for a playoff spot. I don't think that 0-6 record is really indicative of just how good this Gladewater team could be. So I think it'll be closer than we expect, but I am picking Sabine.
We spent a lot of time talking last week about scheduling and how you schedule and how that affects your team.
Yep.
We're about to see if it paid off for Gladewater, because the only reason I think you would make that schedule the way you did was to get ready for the district slate. There's nobody in the district other than Jefferson at this point that I would say is unbeatable when you look at it, right? Like, they lost to Tatum last week. Okay, whatever. But could they beat Sabine this week? Yeah, they could beat Sabine this week. Could they beat Wascom? Yeah. Could they beat Mount Vernon? Yeah, they could. No, so we're going to find out, and this is the first chance they get, because if they lose this one, then I'm ready to write them off. I'm going Sabine too, because I think the Spring Hill loss stands out to me, not just because it's a common opponent, but because I don't think Spring Hill is very talented either, and they lost to Spring Hill. I don't know. I'm going to go with Sabine after their, the way they've played Atlanta. Here's the thing about Atlanta. We didn't mention this a minute ago, Brad. You mentioned you saw them. Those guys are super athletic, man. They got some guys on the team that can absolutely go. The running back has a ton of D1 offers. So to hang in that game with them on their turf is pretty impressive. But I'm going to go with Sabine over Gladewater.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Sabine too. I just don't really, in all seriousness, I did pick after their 0-5 start. I did pick them to go 3-7, maybe 2-8 or whatever. But I in all seriousness, I really don't think that Gladewater. I just don't think they really have enough right now. So I'm gonna go with Sabine.
I'm gonna say this: if you picking anybody other than Sabine, this is it is what it is. I don't know. Sabine's gonna win this game probably by a lot. I'm picking Sabine, dog. I'm just going.
Sabine. Everybody's picking Sabine. I ain't gonna be no fool.
Hey Vince, Vince,
Sabine.
game one was Jefferson Atlanta. Who you going with on that one? Vince?
Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Atlanta.
That's bold.
Is that your super dog of the week?
That's gonna be my one. That's my one right there. I didn't already used it up. I'm good.
You only get one.
Go back. It's
All right, game three, the Battle of the Boroughs, Winsboro versus Pottsboro. Man, Winsboro's been drumming people out just destroying folks. I don't know if I can pick against Winsboro right now, man. They're tough. I'm looking ahead in a game with them in Malakoff at some point down the line in the playoffs right now. I mean, they haven't had a close game all season. The closest game, Hook's game was the closest one. That was 8 points. But, the game that wasn't finished, if you're a Hooks fan, the game didn't really count. So they've got 3 games left in their schedule. Their bye is the very last week, so they'll have a week to get healthy and go scout who they're going to play. But I think I think Winsboro wins by several touchdowns in this one. I don't think the Battle of the Boroughs is as close as I thought maybe preseason would have been.
Nah, I agree with you. I think Kyler Finney and the Winsboro Red Raiders I've said this every week. I think this could be Winsboro's year. Again, like you said, looking down the road for Malakoff. But as far as this game against Pottsboro's got some weapons. They're running back Major McBride. Winsboro's going to have to stop him. He's kind of stirs the pot for Pottsboro. But I'm not betting against the Red Raiders at all. So give me Winsboro.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this, not a knock against Pottsboro, but their secondary, if I was a coach, they would probably make me nervous. So I'm gonna go with Winsboro on this one.
Yeah, I talked last week about the fact that Pottsboro Mineola, the game was as close as it was. Kind of leads me to believe that Winsboro's in a whole different category in that district. And I think Pottsboro's a team that do they finish second in the district? I don't know. We'll see. But I think Winsboro's just ahead above everybody else. Kyler Finney's going to have a big night. And you mentioned that Winsboro-Malakoff game, Brett. I think that's one that we all ought to be looking forward to and hope it's at Rose again so we can all get there pretty easily.
I'm gonna go with Winsboro. I'm gonna pick the W barrel over the P barrel, and hey, it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, Pottsboro 56 nothing over Bonham, 55-40. I mean, it's 6-0. I mean, I'm gonna pick the evil that I know, and I'm gonna pick the Winsboro. I'm just funny. I really can't say that when Winsboro Raiders. It's hard. It's really hard to say. Honestly, it really is. It's a tongue twister. And just thinking through Red Raiders, when Winsboro Wet Raiders. I'm gonna say win. Okay? I'm just gonna say win. Winsboro Wet Raiders. That's how I would say. Overthinking, Vince.
I mean, Pottsboro is really, really good. They're really good, but so is Winsboro. And this is the problem last year because Pottsboro, Winsboro, and Whitesboro were all good and they all thumped each other. So I think Pottsboro won a close one against Winsboro last year. I got a feeling Winsboro is going to want some payback, so I'm going to go with Winsboro on them.
All right. So Winsboro for the sweep. Game 4. I'm already there. I'm in Dallas getting some scoop on this one. I'm live. I've got the teams practicing behind me here. I've got to talk to some of the players and inside scoop on Dallas Covenant as they host the Brook Hill Guard this week. I'm hearing chatter that they're scared that Brook Hill's looking really good. Their D line is vicious.
They should be.
They do the penguin every week. The penguin dance is really scaring them in film, and so I just have a good feeling about this week's game. Me and Rob will be traveling to Dallas to cover this game with a special guest color commentator. I don't know who that's going to be yet,
Still
but
to be determined. We'll find out.
to be determined. But that's where we'll be. And I feel like Brook Hill's going to go in, and this is a game that they've got to have. They want that second place seed where they can host the game, and so they've got to take care of the two teams below, and this is one of them. And I think they're going to take care of business in Dallas and come home with a win.
Yeah, give me Brook Hill. I heard they got a solid defense over there. There's a great defensive line coach, I believe, over there that
he's average.
Yeah, he's pretty above average over there. So I'm gonna give me the Brook Hill Guard over.
I gotta see this penguin dance. I gotta see it. I gotta see this penguin dance.
You would have to come out to a game, Corey. You need to bring your video camera. Come out to the next home game.
No. I'm just gonna come out. I'm sorry. I got everything here visualized. But if I don't want to catch it right, I don't want to see if I come out there. You already know I'm gonna have a camera. So I'm gonna come out. I'm surprised. I'm gonna catch him off guard.
Give me Brook Hill.
Oswald.
I'm gonna go with Brook Hill.
So Brook Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Herbert, how good is that front seven? I heard it was pretty good.
Our front seven. I'm going to tell you, our front seven is it's really good. So just to borrow a wrestling term, I told our D line Saturday in film. I said, "Listen, I'm in full Hill mode. Y'all just need to get ready because I'm tired of hearing about everybody else's defense and everybody else. Like it's time for us to get some recognition." We scored another touchdown, another D line touchdown Friday night. By the way, that puts us at 3 on the year from D line. So. And we are not handing out points very freely at this point. And we've played a lot better offenses than we're going to see Friday night with Covenant. They, the one thing I tell you about a team when they show a bunch of tricks and they have to line up in different formations. I sent Brett a formation, and they've done this about 7 times where they put the 5 linemen up on the line of scrimmage. They put a running back about 3 yards behind them, and they put the other 5 guys in a line like another offensive line about 3 yards behind him. And then they shift out. So when you got to do all that and you're playing a defense like us, good luck. They beat us last year for homecoming because we were not prepared. That will definitely not be the case this year. And obviously, I'm picking us, and it may be the biggest spread of the week.
Oh,
wow!
I'm excited to make the trip. Got me fired up already.
Okay.
Just telling
I'm gonna pick Brook Hill by 14. I think that they're gonna. I think Brook Hill's gonna pull away late, and it's gonna be a fun show. I'll be in Lindale, but I'm gonna watch it a little bit.
Is, you can watch it on NSN while you're at the game.
Oh yeah, shoot.
When that game's probably out of hand in Lindale real early, you can watch it.
Hey, chill out.
Hey, I do want to say this about the Penguin Dance, Corey. So this week, NetSN was not at Brook Hill, so it was left to my own devices to stream the game. And so we streamed from an iPad, which put on YouTube. So if you search our YouTube, it zoomed out enough that when we scored our defensive touchdown, not only did the whole D-line and one of the linebackers get in on the Penguin Dance, the field goal team running on the field, half of them were doing the Penguin Dance on the way to the field. So it's kind of taking its own thing. The mascot even made fun of me in the pep rally Friday for the Penguin Dance. So it's like full Hill mode, man. I don't know how you can be a Hill with a penguin, but
it's gonna go viral.
It already did. There's a TikTok out there, but it's okay. We don't have to talk about that one. So
Corey?
Oh, VH all the way, man. Brook Hill.
And we're going to score on defense twice, by the way. I'm just telling you.
That's what I'm saying. Y'all gonna pull away late.
Twice.
All right. Brook Hill with the sweep. Game 5, the game that Christian will be at this week in Lindale. As Lindale hosts the number 1 team in the state, the Chapel Hill Bulldogs. This is going to be a lot of points. A lot of points on the board in this one. Chapel Hill scored 79 last year, I believe, in this game. Christian, was that the number 79? Yeah.
That was.
We might see 80 this week. I don't know. If Lindale keeps scoring, then this may be a basketball game over in Lindale this week. I'm gonna take the Bulldogs. I think win by two or three touchdowns at least, maybe more than that. Just depends on how well the Blue Storm defense plays. But I think Chapel Hill now is they kind of put the pedal to the metal. I think the Palestine game got a little bit close and woke them up, and I think they take care of business over there against those Kyle Owens and the Lindale Eagles.
So I know we'll talk more about this game later on in the weekly wrap-up show, but at the Kilgore-Lindale game, we've talked all year about Kilgore's defense, and Lindale put 29 up. And early in that game, in the first half, Lindale was going score for score with Kilgore. I mean, they were – and eventually Kilgore's speed kind of took over the game and it got away from Lindale. But I say all that to say we know Chapel Hill's defense is not the stoutest defense. That's something that we've talked about all year long. That is going to be the hump that they're going to have to get over and overcome in order to win a state championship. So I think Lindale will put up some points on Chapel Hill. Problem is Chapel Hill's offense is very, very good, and Lindale's defense just gave up 64 to a team that hadn't put up that many points all season long. So with all that being said, I am picking Chapel Hill to beat Lindale. But I do think it'll be a basketball score. But you're right. There may be 80 points scored by Chapel Hill. It's possible.
Well, I'm glad you picked them, KO, because I was going to have to do LL Cool J in any given Sunday and raise my hand with you. I didn't want you to be alone out there, right? Chapel Hill is going to boat race them. It's going to be ugly, I think. Here's the thing. Lindale may be able to score, but we know Lindale's defense is one of the worst among the teams that we think are contenders or playoff teams or whatever. And I just don't think there'll be a way for them to slow down Chapel Hill. And Chapel Hill, the Palestine game, Brett, I think you're right. It had to wake them up, right? The player, if nothing else, the coaching staff at least, right? Like, I'm thinking through in my head, if we were in that game and we win by 9 over a team that we feel like we should have beat worse than that, the next couple weeks practice is going to be pretty intense. So I think the defense will play better. And
I think part of Jacksonville's problem is they didn't have any Wi-Fi. That's why they couldn't score this past Friday night.
No, that's not why. That's not why they couldn't score.
Hey, listen. Look,
they're just not very good. They're just not very good.
Y'all gonna be shocked about this. So, listen, me and Whitman, we were at the Chapel Jacksonville game, and I love what I saw from Brisbane. His arm strength has gotten better. Ricky Stewart, I said, did they trade for Usain Bolt? Because he is just probably one of the fastest running backs to come through Texas high school football that I've ever seen. But Lindale did not play well defensively against Kilgore. Kilgore I think they have 2-3 running backs that were really, really good. But their offense overall was just good. Having said that, Chapel Hill has had some problems. And the one problem that they've had is their front seven having to stuff the A gap and B gap. So y'all gonna be shocked about this score. But I'm gonna go Chapel Hill 58, Lindale 51.
Well, I don't know. I don't think it shocks me that much. I haven't been too impressed with the defensive play from Chapel Hill. They're good, but I think it's to me their defense is good because of only about there's about two people that I can point out that are D1 competitive, and they make it good, right? But I think they could be better defensively. Offensively, they're a monster. So I think it's probably going to be close too. I think it'll be a close game, but I think Chapel Hill's going to win, obviously, because they play 4 quarters strong, and you haven't found anybody yet that can do that with them. So, um, but I do think that Lindale's offense obviously is going to put up some numbers, probably close to what Chapel Hill can do, kind of like what Gilmer did. Gilmer was able to put up 50 something points on them. So I think it'll be something like that. I agree with you, Christian, on that one. So, but I'm going with Chapel Hill for the win.
I will say this before anybody else answers. They have to stop Clint Thurman. They have to stop. I mean, he literally almost has almost has 1,000 yards, and he's just only a quarterback. So they have to stop him.
Yeah. I say that off camera. Somebody talked to me about somebody. I got a buddy of mine that's a referee, and he was telling
Oh
me about
God. Oh my
he apparently
God.
he was at the Chapel Hill game, and he was telling me some stuff, and I was like, well, I we'll talk about that off camera though. I ain't gonna
Yeah.
say that on camera.
Yeah, you got good authority. The offensive line ain't that good.
Yeah, he was right there. He said, man, he had some stuff. He had some words to say, and I was like, okay, all right, well.
He said the offensive line ain't that good, Vince. Man, ain't nobody blocking that good.
No, it wasn't that. It was something else. It was
No,
just something else. It
no.
ain't something I'm gonna say on camera.
And a complete side note
Oh,
there, Vince. Don't tell him, whoever your referee friend is, don't tell him you know me, because if he's in the middle, I'm yelling at him every week. So keep my, keep my
he
name
was
out,
just like
keep my
he
name
was
out your
like
mouth, Vince.
he told me he just walked. He turned around and looked at me and he said, "I know you from Chapel Hill, but I need to say this." And I was like, "All right, before you go, whatever you about to say." I was like, I want you to think about it before you say it now.
Like I am
He
media.
said, no, he said, I'm positive on this. He said, I didn't seen enough, and I was like, okay, all right, cool. So
I
I
will
was like,
say
all
this:
right.
going to Lindale is like going to Highland Park. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw that out there. It is like going to Highland Park. I mean, oh,
Yeah,
oh
I'm gonna
my
take what
that's
God.
Chippy
a
can.
that's a passionate game. That's a
Oh
passionate game,
man.
bro. So, I mean, I can see the tempers flaring. I can see the tempers flaring in this one. So,
I'm
yeah.
trying to pump myself up. So,
It may
you know, man, being around a lot of coaches and stuff, and I really miss that stuff. To be honest with you, boy, I miss that locker room stuff like yesterday. But anyway, um, if I'm Coach Reardon at this point, like this week of practice ain't no joke. Like this is it. Like the season doesn't get any easier after this point. That Jacksonville game, you could have JV team probably could have beat Jacksonville. It would have been a 1 point game. It would have Jackson, whatever. Like that's cool. Penalties, we don't need to have any penalties against Lindale. I don't care what their record says. They've beaten us. We've only beaten them one time in how many years? They still have
Wow.
it over, and then you're gonna play at their
They
house.
still have
It's a
the
trap
record.
game.
Yeah.
This is a trap game at this point. It could go either way. You go out there, you start having penalties against Lindale, and our offensive line is bigger than our defensive front. They know they can run the football. Let's peel back the skin a little bit. They can run the football on us. Okay, they can, and they will. You start getting penalties, you start turning the ball over and not playing smart and not taking care of the football, then their field position is shrunk and they can score easy points. Now our
Mm-hmm.
offense is good. Yeah, offense is straight. It's good. So now we'll look at my defense a little bit. Are you gonna be the defense that bends? You gonna give up? You gonna have him have a career night? They're gonna score 50 points, they're gonna score 60 points. You make a statement this game. This game is a game Chapel needs to make a statement. They need to beat them 55-6. 55-10. You make a statement tonight. I don't want to hear nothing
82-7.
else about, well, we did this. Well, I don't want to hear that crap. You got 9 or 10 D1 athletes on your football team, 4 or 5 guys from the defensive going D1. I don't care. You make a statement. pads are popping. We're leaving out of here. It's a business trip. Now I'm getting a little intense, but that's how you pitch it at this point.
The business trip's coming
That's how
out.
you
We
pitch
know.
it at this point. Like you come out if you're who you say you are. It's 3 games left in the season, and you trying to flirt around with not make. No, man, I don't care what your record is at this point. You still got it. It's some boys in the playoffs a little bit better than Lindale, and the competition gets better and better each week. Better pay attention. It's a trap game champion. They better not mess it up.
And in my opinion, it all starts at 4:00 tomorrow. They got practice. You cannot have that is the one thing that has beaten Chapel Hill when they play Lindale. You cannot have a bad practice. It takes one bad practice when you play Lindale if you're in Chapel. One. And literally they will embarrass you, especially in that stadium.
Let me tell you a secret. That's anybody. It just takes one bad practice. Especially in basketball, you playing 2 games a week and sometimes 3 games a week. It just takes one bad practice. It takes one scouting report, missing assignment, and it's a wrap. But anyway.
All right. The Chapel Hill with the sweep there. Game 6. This one's interesting. This is a big district game as far as for both teams. McKinney North is going to come into Lufkin and take on the Lufkin Panthers guys. And just looking at the way this district is kind of unfolding now, we kind of talked about the fact that, Tyler High and Lufkin, they were on the outside looking in last year. Okay, we look at the way the district standings are right now. Lufkin is sitting in a 3-way tie for 5th with West Mesquite, Tyler High, and Lufkin. Oh, and Lancaster as well. So all 4-way tie. So 4-way tie for 4th. This is a big game for Lufkin. McKinney North 3-0 is tied with Longview right now. They've at this point they've played West Mesquite, Tyler High, and Lancaster and beat all 3. I got to see McKinney North play. I went and watched them play Tyler High a few weeks ago. They impressed me. They started like off the game. I liked the way they were coached. They came out, they got the kickoff, they scored. Coach was aggressive, got onside kick, got them up 14-0. It was just too much for a tie to overcome. So they were able to go on the road and to beat Tyler High. Problem is, I don't know. It's hard to tell how good Lufkin is versus Tyler High because we don't really know. I'm looking at the schedule. They did handle Legacy a little bit better, so maybe they're a little bit better than Tyler High is right now. I don't know. But then they got a blank against Longview 42-0, which worries me. And then they lost to Forney. So it's hard. This is probably one of the toughest picks of the week for me. It's in Lufkin, so that gives Lufkin the advantage. But McKinney North is rolling right now, and it's tough to pick against them right now. So I'm gonna go with McKinney North over Lufkin.
There's 2 other games on here that I have all my picks written down over here. There's 2 games that I have blank spaces on because they're harder than this one. McKinney North easily in this one. It's just not that hard for me. I saw Lufkin against Longview, and granted, it was against Longview. I get it, but they just didn't look very good. Now, they did go out and get a good win against North Mesquite last week. North Mesquite's not a very good football team. They got a win over Tyler Legacy. Legacy's not a very good football team. They got a win over Nacogdoches. Nacogdoches, not a great football team. So their wins aren't very good. Now, McKinney North, they kind of beat the bottom half of the district as well in their district play so far. But I think McKinney North's the better football team right now, so I'm taking them.
But North has a little house money to play with, right? They beat Lancaster and they beat Tyler. In terms of getting a playoff spot, those are 2 of the teams they got to beat to get in there, right? We know Longview is going to get one of the spots. Forney's going to get one of the spots. And then from there, we don't know, right? It's going to be some combination of North, Lancaster, Tyler, Lufkin. North, if they win the game, they're pretty much going to solidify a playoff spot because they've beaten all the teams they need to beat to get in. But for Lufkin, they're in win now mode. I don't see a way that Lufkin can lose a game the rest of the way and get in.
None of them can. All of those that are tied, they can't.
Well,
they have to win.
Tyler and Lufkin are the ones that are really behind the 8 ball. So, number one, those 2, when they play, the loser's going to be out. The winner's still not going to be in.
And they play each other next week.
Yeah.
So
So
that we'll figure that out. So, like to your point, this is even a bigger game for Lufkin and Tyler High this week because they're playing each other next week.
Lufkin has to beat. They have to win this one. They've got to beat Lancaster and they've got to beat Tyler to get in. Otherwise, they're out. They lose any of those three, they're out. Okay. How far has Lufkin football fallen? I was watching Red Zone Friday night, KO, and they had the guy from KTRE on. And he's talking about the Lufkin win and how great of a win it was. And they never talked about the score. They just talked about how great of a win it was. I went back and looked at the score, and they won 25-7 over North Mesquite. And we're talking about that's a great win for Lufkin. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, that's how far Lufkin football has gotten to, KO, that we're celebrating an 18-point win over a bad North Mesquite team that's won one game all year.
They hadn't been very good the past few years, Lufkin.
Yeah. No, so. McKinney North's going to win this one. Even in Lufkin, they're going to win. And now it sets up where Lufkin will really be in desperation mode. I honestly don't think they lose this week. There's any way mathematically for them to get in unless all kind of chaos breaks loose like Vince likes. But I think if they lose this one, they're out. And if they lose this one, they're going to get blown out next week.
I'm going to throw something at you, though. I'm going to throw something at you. So, Forney and Longview played. The score was 13-7. But when they played Lufkin is, as of right now, is the only team that has scored the most on them as far as, like, they put up 21 on them. Now,
you talking about
that
Forney?
may not be a lot on Forney.
Yeah.
On Forney. So, but that may not be a lot. But you're talking about a Forney team that their first week was against Crandall 64-10. And then it was Memorial 62-0. Poteet 53-0. West Mesquite 69-0. And then they play Lufkin. And the score was 42-21. You know. Then they go and they play Longview. And Longview only gave them 13. You know. And it makes me question, Lufkin may not be that far off. You know, Forney was a good team, and Forney was slated to beat Longview.
Forney Longview was a good game, which was what? 13-7.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that I don't think Lufkin is as far off as people think.
Longview blank Lufkin 42-0.
But here's the thing about Longview. Here's the thing about Longview Friday night. They had the ball on the one twice and couldn't score. They got field goals out of both chances. So the 13-7 score is a little misleading, I guess. I mean, at the end of the day, they didn't get in, so it doesn't count. But I think Forney's a really good football team, and I think, to your point, Vince.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that Forney obviously has a really good defense, right? It looks to be proven that they have a really good defense, and so far Lufkin they're the only team that's been able to put up 21 on them, at least. So it makes me question. Lufkin might be all right. They might be okay, you know. And then you talk about McKinney North. McKinney North is. I mean, they lost only one game, I think. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right now, yeah. They only lost one game.
So,
was that a non-district?
Yeah, they're 3-0 in district.
It was they haven't lost in district at all.
I mean, they're going to lose two. They still got Longview and Forney. I mean,
they still got both of them. Absolutely. I guess what I'm saying is I don't know. I feel like I don't know.
Just take them, Vince. Take Lufkin. Go
ahead.
It just ain't easy to say McKinney North got it. Like I don't know, man. Like I don't know. And then knowing Lufkin gotta have this win, that's the other thing. You gotta think about this too. Like Lufkin gotta have this. They gotta have this game to get in. You know.
Tyler High needed that one.
Desperation can make you do a lot of things. A lot of things. So you know what? I wrote down McKinney North. I think I'm gonna go with Lufkin.
Oh, okay.
I think I'm gonna go with Lufkin.
Okay. Remember this though, Vince. When you make your actual picks, it ain't gonna be the one you wrote down.
Hey, did he tell you I went 9-1? Did he tell you I went 9-1?
Did he tell you I went 10-0?
Hey, 9-1.
Did you go 10-0?
I went 10-0.
What'd you say?
There's a lot of 9-1.
You think I didn't when I did?
hey, there's 3 9-1s in this room, so it's not too.
Okay.
You're just average, Vince. 9-1 average in this room.
You know what, Vince?
If I'm average, you average.
You know what? You are above average.
Wow.
Hey,
disrespect.
We talked about this already. As long as I'm staying ahead of that Professor Diggs guy from DFW trying to come over here to our contest, and I'm good.
All right. Man, okay, this is
I'm
I
putting
was
I'm
there
putting
when
Diggs
they
over.
played. I was there when they played Tyler High, McKinney North, and they have the one thing that Tyler High struggled to do. They struggled to stop the run in the first half. They did, and then McKinney North's quarterback was kind of like picking them apart a little bit. Um, this district is it's just confusing to me because ever since this district, changed, uh, last year, and ever since the district changed last year, it's always been a toss up. But Lufkin, you got to think about it. Their last good season, I don't know if y'all may or may not remember this, but their last good season was really 2016, in my opinion. But to say that they had an impressive win over uh, North Mesquite, that's crazy. That's crazy. So McKinney North is going to win this game by probably 3 touchdowns, in my opinion, because I just don't think that not Forney, but I don't think Lufkin has enough, and they're probably going to finish fifth in that district, in my opinion. So,
Okay.
because right now I got Longview 1, Forney 2, probably Lancaster 3.
3.
I got Tyler High going to the playoffs. I have them going to the playoffs. I think they'll beat Lufkin by 2 touchdowns next week. The problem is it's going to be Longview and Forney, but Lufkin they don't
Tyler High.
have
There's no
enough.
way. There's no way they're making the playoffs at this
Well,
point.
it depends, right? If North wins this week, like we all think they're going to, except for Vince, then the battle for fourth is going to be Lancaster and John Tyler. Sorry, Tyler. It's going to be Lancaster and Tyler for the fourth spot. Whoever wins that game is going to get in.
And they've already lost that game.
Yeah. So
Oh
I don't
wow!
think they can get in unless all kind of crazy stuff happens. But
I guess when I look at it, I'm looking at it like kind of like Christian's looking at it, right? The 1, 2, and 3 are pretty much determined already. But to me, I just don't know that fourth spot. I don't know if McKinney North was that much better than Tyler High because they only scored 7 in the second half of that game, and Tyler High started to storm back, you know, um, and then I don't know what Lufkin is. So it's like I got 3 teams that I really just don't know what they are really. And so that's why it ain't that I think Lufkin is better than McKinney North. I just don't know which one of them is better out of those 3 alone. My guess is Lufkin will probably beat McKinney North, and Tyler High will beat Lufkin. That's the chaos I'm talking about right there. That's what might happen.
it puts them both out.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like, the whole district is up in arms. Like, what do we do with this?
It'd be easy. North and Lancaster be in, they wouldn't have to worry about the rest of it. And that's the unfortunate thing is as much as we've talked about Tyler, they've really put themselves in a spot where they've got to win some games.
They did.
I mean, they will beat West Mesquite this week, right? If they beat Lufkin next week, then they have Longview, who we don't think they're going to beat, in Forney, and they're going to have to beat one of them to get in.
Yeah.
So even if they win the games they should and lose to those 2, they're going to be on the out because they lost to North. And so, I think North, man, is I think North has the 3rd spot locked up already. I really think they're going to finish 3rd, and I think Lancaster
3rd or 4th.
I think
you think. Oh, you think? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. If you see it that way, yeah. Okay.
If North already beat Lancaster. North beat them 28-21.
Oh, yeah, they did.
That was the first game of district play, so they already got the tiebreaker.
I forgot about that.
I will say this about McKinney North: their defense is kind of makes me nervous. It really, really does, because the way that Tyler High came back, I would just probably be like, listen, we cannot make any mistakes with some of these teams. But their defense worries me, especially their secondary. I saw Derek McFall. I think most of y'all know Derek McFall, who goes to Tyler High. I saw him kind of, have his way and Granberry, the quarterback from Tyler. I kind of saw him have his way. So they're going to have to these next couple of games. They're going to win this week, but these next couple of games they have to tighten up on defense because that was ridiculous of what I saw with Tyler High and McKinney North.
All right, so
I
Jeremy
can say
has.
this. I'm gonna give my pick.
Oh, Corey, you
What
haven't.
was that?
I was trying to figure out who's picked. So we got Kyle and Jeremy and myself have McKinney. Vince has Lufkin. Christian, did you say who you had?
McKinney North.
So okay, so Corey, you go ahead.
Well, you know I'm picking Lufkin. I'm not picking East Texas School. I just lose that. But I was gonna say this. The last time Lufkin had a double-digit win, and Christian, I know you're a young man, so I don't know if you was born then. 2006, 2007.
I was born.
They were 11-1. That's the last time they had a double-digit season. Now we're talking about Lufkin. Now, if you know anything, y'all know Lufkin. They double-digit wins every year. This is Bo Outlaw time. This is at the tail end of Coach Outlaw's. Then of course Reggie McNeil and all those guys way after before that time. So I mean, this was Lufkin. This is when the LP was the LP. So, but 8-4 season for Lufkin, is that a good? That's not a Lufkin standard. You know what I'm saying? Now, to my recollection, I'm going back to all these years where they had one losing season or maybe two out of almost 20-some years. It's crazy.
I think they had 3. Oh wait, no, they had 2.
But but anyway, I'm just saying is Lufkin back? I don't know if Lufkin is all the way back. They benefited from playing in that little South Texas, not South Texas, but that Houston corridor district where they dominated against Huntsville, Nacogdoches, Kingwood. They ran shop to all those and got to the playoffs, couldn't make it. But I don't know, man.
And still didn't get double-digit wins.
Yeah.
No. Because, I mean, they front-loaded their schedule because they knew they were going to make the playoffs. So they played some harder teams. I don't think they were just that good. And now you don't want to touch Huntsville with a 10-foot pole. They've been decent. And all the rest of the school, college, those Bryan schools are pretty decent. They're pretty good. One school is good, at least. But,
all right.
It's a brief Lufkin history, though.
Game 7,
John Tyler's
guys.
the same way. I said John Tyler thing.
Game 7. Nacogdoches and Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant with a big win over Marshall last week. Kind of put themselves in a good spot here. Guys, I'm as impressed. Mount Pleasant, they've got wins over Pittsburgh, Sulphur Springs, and Marshall. Their losses were Frisco Emerson and Texas High. Of course, Texas High is kind of the class of this district. And that was in Texas High. They lost by 4 touchdowns. And that impresses me with the win over Marshall. Nacogdoches has not played Marshall yet. So I'm not sure kind of where they sit, but it's tough to pick against them. And Nacogdoches, you guys let me down last time. I picked you and you let Pine Tree beat you. So not this time. I'm going with the Mount Pleasant Tigers.
This is one that I left a blank space on. I'm undecided because part of me wants to pick Nacogdoches because Nacogdoches is the home team. I think they need it more because they already have 2 losses in district against White House and Pine Tree, but they lost at home to Pine Tree. So, and then they beat Hallsville, but everybody beats Hallsville, so that's not very impressive. But then you look at Mount Pleasant, and they lost to Texas High, but they put up some points on Texas High, and then beat Marshall, who we think is at least a decent team in this district, maybe a playoff team. But that's a long trip for Mount Pleasant to go all the way down to Nacogdoches. Does travel affect it? That's everything that's been going through my head, and that's why I'm undecided on who to choose. But I think I'm gonna go with.
Do it.
Man.
Do it.
Nac lost 3 in a row. It's Chapel Hill, White House, and Pine Tree. Oh. I'm taking the Tigers. Give me Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, thank you for saying that because remember last week you guaranteed me they were making the playoffs, right? Wasn't it
Mount
you that did
Pleasant.
that?
Yes, I did.
So I've done some thinking over the weekend and rethought some of the things I think about some teams and looked at the numbers and trying to get rid of any biases I have. And I was on the Nacogdoches. Me and Brett, we fell victim to CM convincing us that Nacogdoches was going to win a state championship. We fell for this. Let me just say
Who
this:
said?
Nacogdoches has 3 games left. Okay, they have this one against Mount Pleasant. They have Texas High and they have Marshall. They're not winning another game. They're going to finish the year 3-7 and 1-5 in district. And I think that their kids have probably, man, it's hard. I hate to even say this. I think they know they can't get in. Like when you look at just the standings and who they've lost to already and how it's going to go, if you assume that Texas High and White House are not going to lose unless they're playing each other, right? Nacogdoches is in a bad spot, and I don't think they can get in unless something stupid happens. They got to win this week, but I don't think they can. Mount Pleasant, I watched a little bit of them against Texas High 2 weeks ago, and even though they lost by 29, just watching them, they look pretty. I mean, they have some talent, and we've talked. KO convinced me of this, so it's kind of like that scene in Talladega Nights where Ricky Bobby's dad tells him he never said that about if you're not first, you're last, and when you almost picked Nacogdoches, I was like, man, my whole life change this weekend is almost out the window if you go against them. So Mount Pleasant gets the
I
win,
was thinking,
and they're gonna not only get in the playoffs. Okay, I'm gonna up you. They're gonna finish 3rd in the district. They're gonna finish 3rd. Marshall finish 4th. But and they'll we'll see when they get there. But I'm with you. Mount Pleasant wins this week.
I was thinking about the scene where he says, "I like to party." I don't know why that came out.
Oh man.
I like to party.
I'm gonna go Mount Pleasant because I'm gonna be honest with you. After what I saw Chapel Hill do to Nacogdoches, and then I'm looking at Nac's district. That district is not easy. At this point, they're kind of settling for off season because, for one, I don't really think they're even big up front as far as their defensive line is concerned. Their secondary, I know I've talked about defense a lot, but their secondary is something that needs a lot of work. And Mount Pleasant is just that was really impressive of what they did to Marshall. And plus Mount Pleasant has a good quarterback too. So I'm going to go with Mount Pleasant on this one, and I'm going to say they'll probably beat them by 10 points.
Man, y'all just jumping on Knack like Knack really ain't
know, right?
that
They
bad.
just-
Like they got a
off the
good
Knack
quarterback. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bruh, like
They done me dirty a
This
few
was-
times.
okay, all right. So
Go ahead and pick them, Vince. That's fine.
yeah, I'm gonna go with them. I just somebody got to stand with them. I mean, they not a bad team. They just ran into some bad circumstances. I mean, to be honest with
Bad
you, they came
circumstances,
close to
played
beating.
teams that were better than them.
Yeah, but at the same time, they almost beat White House. They lost by 3.
Man,
It's the almost lost theory.
Here we go.
It's got to count for something. It's got to count for something. So I'm gonna go with Dak, man.
Well, White House pulled a White, and I hate to say this, but White House pulled a Alabama. They just kind of let Nat just hang around for a little bit until the end. So
that's their fault.
I mean,
that's their fault.
That's their fault. So I mean,
and we thought Pine Tree was pretty good, and I mean, I still think that they kind of are, and Knack only lost to them by 3.
Pine Tree's not making the playoffs either.
No.
Sorry.
That was
this
like a hanging curveball.
I think honestly, right now, I think it's Texas High, White House, Mount Pleasant, and Marshall. One of those two in that order. That's what I think.
I think it's.
Yeah, I mean, we saw, but Brett, we saw them. They didn't look bad against Chapel Hill.
And look bad.
Just Chapel Hill.
Sure,
Chapel Hill just is
they
Chapel
didn't
Hill.
Well, they didn't look. I mean, they stopped them for like a few drives, and then you have to remember though that game was 28. Was it 28-7? Chapel Hill was lined up for a field goal, and they blocked the field goal. and they ran
It
it
don't
back.
matter. They still
They
play
ran it
well.
back,
They
yeah.
still play well.
But
That's
Vince,
They still play well.
But Vince, sometimes being on the field with people better than you makes you look better. It's like that girl that's really a 6, but she hangs out with a bunch of 9s, so she looks like she's an 8.
God.
Dang.
Oh,
my God.
man.
But she's still a 6,
Oh,
Vince.
man, goodness.
She's still a 6.
She's still a six.
Hey, we can talk about even with the sloth toes, right, Kyle?
Even with the sloth toes.
Man, I forgot about that argument. I forgot about that.
I'm not gonna respond to that because I don't need nobody in my comment section in my DM saying, "What did you say?"
Man, can't wait till this is out there for everybody to hear.
All right, Corey.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go with that.
Corey, you up? I think I know who you're going to go with, but tell us.
Well, when Nacogdoches, I'm still riding the dragon train. I'm riding the dragon train,
You're riding
baby.
the train right off the cliff.
Yeah, Imagine Dragons.
Doesn't matter. As long as I get an upset, and y'all don't win, and I win, and I get that one right. Did you understand what's happening? Do you understand what's happening? I got a batch of red Kool-Aid. I'm stirring it up, and y'all sip every week. Every week somebody takes a sip. Somebody takes at least one sip.
You said red? Nacogdoches is not red, by the way, just in case you want.
I'm saying it's the Kool-Aid. It's the general. Just the Kool-Aid in general.
They got some red
I'm
flags.
not drinking more of that Kool-Aid.
That's right.
I've had my
Christian,
last
that's
drink.
right. They do have some red flag Kool-Aid. That's right. Perfect.
I'm off that narcotic.
The
All right.
6s or the 8s or the Kool-Aid? Which one?
All of it.
Game 8, fellas. West Russ Grand Saline. Big district game as far as Grand Saline and West Russ concerned.
Hey, Brett.
Yeah.
I need to know, how was Grand Saline's hospitality Friday night?
Hospitality in Grand Saline was excellent. We got our own little booth. Had our own little space. We had everything. Everything was going great. Me and Vince had a great time. It was a great call. Two teams back and forth. Great action. We had some nice replay action going on. We had the scoreboard ran by Jalen. He was doing a great job there. Camera work, Isaiah it was everything. The whole production itself. Still a word from Corey. The whole production was great. So everything was excellent there in Grand Saline. So
I got to tell y'all this. Last time I went to Grand Saline, it was rough because we broke down. I was on the bus and we broke down in Grand Saline, and I mean, it just wasn't one of the police officers were behind us or whatever. And he was just so so dry. His attitude was awful. And
probably because he went and looked at that big salt rock they got.
we did
He made a little salty.
We did see the salt rock. I had a Jalen and Isaiah with me. They had never been really to Grand Saline, so I was like, "Hey guys, it's a tradition. Y'all need to go lick the salt rock. It's your first."
Bet they didn't do it.
They didn't go for it.
No.
So
no,
he was.
They did not fall for the banana and tailpipe.
We did see it.
Not at all.
We did see it though. We did see it. But yeah, I think Grand Saline looks solid. Their quarterback, Jet Taylor, is a one-man show there in Grand Saline. He does it all. He intercepted, ran back a 100-plus yard touchdown that was called back by a block in the back or kind of a blindside block. But he was throwing the ball and running it. I mean, he was an excellent player. Just seeing them play ARP was just more talented. They're a really good football team this year, and they went to West Rusk and had trouble. So I'm just going to go with the West Rusk Raiders in this one.
Yeah, I love Grand Saline. Love Coach Drennan over there. I think they're great people. West Rusk is a better football team, so give me the West Rusk Raiders. You gotta say it slow. West Rusk Raiders.
West Rusk Raiders.
See, West. I can't even say it.
So West Rusk is going to get the win, right? They're going to win this game. But let me just brag on Grand Saline. We talked about this a lot last week. Grand Saline's in a weird spot. They got 3 games left. They can go 1-2 and make the playoffs. They can lose to West Rusk. They can lose to ARP. And as long as they beat Winona in 2 weeks, actually next week, they're going to be in the playoffs. Why, you ask? Because they're all going to finish tied 2-4 because Edgewood lost to Winona somehow. Edgewood beat Grand Saline, but if they have the normal district tiebreaker, which is point differential with 3 teams, usually a cap of 14, they should be in the playoffs. Grand Saline. So with that said, I think the game may be a little closer than we expect because they know they still have something to play for. If they were a team maybe that, we may see in a couple of weeks where teams know they're out of the playoffs and they're trying to just finish it out, they may get blown out in this situation. West Rusk is going to win the game, but Grand Saline will hang around. They'll keep it interesting for a little bit, at least maybe the half. But I'm glad to hear, Brett, that you thought Grand Saline had some talent because as long as they beat Winona, and we talked about this, is Winona sneaking the playoffs? I don't know. We'll see, but I don't think so. I think Grand Saline will get the last spot, but West Rusk will win this one.
I'm gonna go with West Rusk on this one, or West was. That's y'all just y'all make me mad sometimes. But
See?
but West Rusk is gonna win this game. I really don't think that because West Rusk offense is good. They kind of remind me of Chapel a little bit. But their defense is really, really solid. And I don't know if Taylor can hang around for. In my opinion, it'll be interesting for 3 quarters, and then the 4th quarter it'll just kind of get out of hand a little bit. So I'm gonna go West Rusk. I'll say they'll probably win 41-28, probably. So I mean, we'll see.
I'm gonna go with West Rusk, but I will say Grand Saline does have a lot of talent. One in particular, Brett already talked about Jet Taylor. He's phenomenal playing both sides of the ball. But I kept bragging on that other kid,
Butterfield.
Peyton Butterfield. Yeah.
Yeah.
This dude, he had 4 game-saving tackles. Every time somebody broke, he walked them down.
He's small,
He didn't go
too.
catch him. He walked them down.
Yeah, he's
every
small,
single
too.
time. Like, I'm pretty sure that kid probably like I got a feeling that kid might run a 4.4. 4.3, 4.4, something like that. He was fast. And the thing about Grand Saline that bothered me, they were really good offensively, but they just couldn't. To me, I felt like they couldn't get out of their own head. They wanted their way. They wanted to run the football and run it well, and it wasn't working. But every time they passed, they were moving down the field, but they just wouldn't do it. And they just consistently would they would have dead end drives because they just wouldn't pass the ball.
Yeah, because ARP was going. They were 2-dimensional. They were throwing in passing and
throwing in passing.
Grand Saline kind of and we talked about this on there too, Vince. That he didn't toss it to Butterfield a lot. Taylor didn't. He kept it.
No,
we thought he should have tossed it a little bit more.
And that's what I wanted to see them do. At one point, I talked about it just briefly. I was like, you got to get this kid out in some open field, because he's too fast. Like if he's catching their fastest players like that and saving those touchdowns, I imagine if you'd ran a screen or something with him and got him in just some open field, I don't think there's anybody out there that would have caught him. And again, I think Grand Saline is good. I think honestly, man, that game could have went either way, and honestly, they wanted to do it their way and they lost their way. That was what bothered me. They lost their way. And so even into the 4th quarter, I was like, man, you gotta pass the football. You gotta pass the football. Because you're trying to run that. At one point, what was it, like a 5 wide, but it was always a quarterback sneak. And I'm like, ARP is reading that perfectly. They're not letting you. I don't think they gained a yard on that play. And every time they ran it, which was probably about 5 or 6 times, it was always met with brute force at the line of scrimmage. But they never got out of their way. So I said all that to say this. Grand Saline is a good team, but they hold themselves back. West Rusk is a better team. And looking at what they did to ARP, I figured they're going to do the same thing to Grand Saline.
Just real quick, too, I called this game last year, Grand Saline and West Rusk in Grand Saline. And West Rusk got up on Grand Saline, I want to say 28-3 or something like that in the first half. Grand Saline fought back to lose 38-35 late in that ball game. So last year it was close. I think Grand Saline's team last year is better than the team they have this year. I think they're missing some weapons. They lost their quarterback, Jace Melton, but they also lost 2 of their receivers, Hudson Griffin and Brett Kendall. to graduation. So I think they got a learning curve to kind of take up this year. That's why I don't think they're as good as last year. So I don't think the game's going to be as close this year. But if for any reference, they did play them tough last season.
Well, but West Rusk lost as much or more, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
they lost more than Grand Saline did. Probably
They lost the
percentage of
house.
drop. Yeah, I mean, so
Mata, they lost Mata in itself, and he was a one-man show on offense.
And they have a new coach too, so they had to go through a coaching change.
yeah,
So.
but he's been there. I don't think the coaching change hurts much. But you're right. The graduation for both teams was pretty significant.
Yeah.
All right, Corey, who you got?
I'm going to the Powder Blue Raiders.
All right, so West Rusk. So it was a sweep for West Rusk there. All right, game 9. This game will be on NetSN. Our guys in center will be on the call, and this one is Van and Center. It's a juicy matchup here in game 9 here. Man, I've seen Van a few times. I watched him a little bit in the game last week that we had with Rusk and Van. I saw him when we called the game in Chapel Hill. Van's a really good football team. I'll even say they're a great football team. Their weakness is they just don't have a whole lot of speed on the field. And Center is just so fast and athletic. I think that's really going to hurt. And Center can score a lot of points. I know Van's defense has been pretty solid, but I just think the Cross-Dixon combination is just going to be really tough to stop for Van. I mean, they had trouble with Brisbane and Stewart and Chapel Hill, and I think it's going to be some sort of a similar way they're going to get beat. And so I'm going to go with Center over Van in this one.
This is the second game that I had left as a blank space because coming into the season, even after non-district, I would have said Center without even thinking about it. But Van's defense recently, they gave up 7 points to Brownsboro, 3 points to Canton, and 3 points to Rusk. Now, Brownsboro, they're 1-2 in district. I don't think they're a great football team, but they still have some good athletes with especially Jakyle Baker on the outside and then the tight end. I'm going blank on his name, but they got some weapons over there. Canton, not a great football team, but still it's a rivalry game, and anytime you hold the team to out of the end zone where they just get 3 points, that's impressive. And then Rusk, who we've all agreed, pretty decent football team. They've been putting up some points this year, and they get held out of the end zone to just 3 points as well.
At home.
At home. Yeah. So that's where my hesitation is because I've said it every week. Defense wins championships. I love defense, and I usually side with the defense. But Center, their offense is ridiculous. That same Rusk team, they gave up 48, but they scored 76. That same Canton team, they gave up 37, but they scored 57. Like Center's offense is legit, and I'm with you, Brett. I think Center's going to have a lot more speed than Van. And normally, yes, that hurts teams. And Van didn't look real great against Chapel Hill, but excuse me. But if I remember correctly, Van played them really tough in the first half. Chapel Hill pulled away in the second half. So I think Van's going to put up some points on Center. My question is, can Van be disciplined enough and be schematically sound enough defensively to slow down Center? Because even if you are the team that has the less speed, there's ways you can scheme to set yourself up to slow that team down a little bit. So if they can do that, then I think they have a real shot, and that's why I'm going back and forth. With all that being said, I think it'll be a shootout. I think Center has too much speed, so I'm taking Center.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, we'll let you go next.
Go ahead, Vince.
I'm a big defense guy. So I spent part of my life in Van too, so I'm partial to Van. But Center, man, it's just that offense is ridiculous. And I still believe Center can beat Carthage. So in order for me to believe in that, I gotta believe that they can beat Van too. So I'm gonna go with Center. But if Van somehow pulls this off, more power to you. Because I believe in defenses like KO said, defense wins championships. I believe in that too. So yeah, I want them to win, but I gotta go with center because I believe that center can beat Carthage. That's my logic.
I'd be going against who I am as a person if I didn't say this. Defense does win championships, and in case y'all didn't feel the air the last two mornings, it's been kind of cold. And when it's cold, you got to be able to do two things, boys. And I've told you this before: you got to be able to run it, and you got to be able to stop the run. And from what I know of these
Football
two
weather.
teams, and what I know and what I've seen, I would be going against him if I didn't say the defense is going to win the game. Because here's the thing: the speed thing only matters if you don't have a good plan for it. Okay? And case in point, Brett and Vince, you were there. We played Atlanta. Is there any doubt that Atlanta's fastest 10 kids are faster than any kid we got? Yes, it's true. There's no doubt about that. You can scheme a way to take care of the speed. And I think you have to be patient offensively when you're playing a team like that. You can't change who you are. And I look at Van only giving up 3 points to Russ last week as a big – Russ and center athletically are not that far apart if you watch the game. I mean, I think that Dixon is the best player out of the two teams. But I think Rusk is extremely fast, too, if you watch him. I think that you look at some of the other – I mean, Van beat Pine Tree, right? Van beat Lindale. They've played some teams that offensively are very capable. Pine Tree has athletes. They got a couple of D1 kids. Lindale has the running attack that they have, and Van was able to handle that as well. Dixon and Cross are a whole different animal, right? Like, they're really good. Don't get me wrong. I think that listen, I'm with you, KO. This is one of the better football games of the week, if not that we've had in the last month, maybe, in terms of the matchup here. I just can't in good conscience take the offensive team over the defensive team, but I think that they will have a good plan. From what I know about Coach Moffitt, he's going to have a great plan schemed up. I wish I could say that I'm 100% certain they're going to win the game. I'm going to go with them because I think the defense wins out in a situation like this. I don't think it's going to be a shootout, though. I don't think – I think people think that Van is challenged offensively, and I don't think they are. I just don't think they have to play that way, right? Like, I don't think they ever they put themselves in a spot where they don't have to score 40 or 50 points. So I'm going with Van.
Jeremy,
I'm going with Van. I just think the game plan matters.
I'm switching.
Yeah, you just switched me too. You switched me too.
I'm switching. I'm going with Van.
Yeah,
and I didn't even notice that Russ put up 48 on center, and then to go play Van and only get 3 out of them the next week. You sold me. I'm good.
Well,
I'm going with Van.
And the reason I'm switching is I said the same thing you said.
I'm glad all y'all are switching so I can gain a pick on you this week. That's great.
I said the same thing you said about, you could scheme to slow down the speed, and then I still picked the center.
Yeah.
But then I think about it. I can't do that to Coach Moffitt. I love Coach Moffitt. Me and Coach Moffitt are tight. I can't do that to him. And it would be hypocritical for me to preach about defense like I do and then go against the defensive team. So,
I already feel bad about it.
And here's the thing. Center's going to get their points, right? Like, listen, it's like us, we played Atlanta. Vince, you saw it. Their cat that they have that's so good, we knew he was going to get us a couple of times. He got us twice, right? They got us for 2 plays for 100-something yards combined. Other than that, they averaged like 2.2 yards a play. Like, you're going to give up a touchdown. You're going to give up a big play. It's how can you respond?
So, guys, you Van pickers. Then who has the better defense between Chapel Hill and Van?
It's not about that, but I got to do my pick. I'm picking center. I'm picking center. And it's offense over defense. Offense over defense. And Van has a better defense than Chapel Hill.
No, they don't.
That weather change comment, Jeremy, that was good. I didn't think about the weather. Because you right.
Van can stop the run.
When it gets cold and you pad up, it's a whole different game.
I understand that, Corey. I'm saying, like, so if you're saying that you're going to pick offense versus defense, if Van and Chapel Hill played, which they did, then that would say all you guys would pick Van over Chapel Hill.
No, it's different.
Necessarily. That's week. That was week 2.
I think center is very similar to Chapel Hill as far as what they do, as far as what they do. They have a lot of athletes. They've got a good quarterback, running back combination, and they do a lot of offensive stuff. Their offense is fast paced and they score a lot of points.
I think it's when you catch a team too. Like Center's catching Van at home, and their Van's on fire right now defensively. Like I think if Chapel Hill caught them early in the year when their teams are still figuring stuff out, Chapel Hill's still figuring stuff out. But I think right now Center is going to be going, and Van and Center. Let me just say, a couple of years ago when they played, there was a situation that happened in Center that between the Center and Van, that these two teams really don't care for each other. Not a rivalry by any means, because they don't play each other enough. But there's
nobody likes Van for some reason.
Everybody
has a situation with Van.
But they're going into Van's house. Van's playing really good football right now. And Van wins. If Van can win this game, then they'll have a week off before they go to Carthage and play Carthage for a district championship. So I think the same thing for Center. Center's got kind of that same thing going on because they'll play Carthage next week. So it's a big game, but I just got to go with the hot hand right now. And both teams are very good. I think both of them will be fine, but I think Van's defense wins out.
Here's my thing with Brett's argument. You can't always compare what's the common opponent thing. We use it, and I'm not so sure that we shouldn't use it, but I'm also not always sure that we should. So it's hard for me to say, well, do we whose defense do we think is better based on the play? Because there's a number of things, right? How do you game plan this? You look at a game in a non-district game and what they're showing or not showing. There's a lot of reasons why that doesn't matter to me. I just think, I didn't even think about events. What you said, Russ goes and puts up a ton of points against Center and then only gets 3 against Van. Without watching the whole Van Russ game, which I haven't, I don't know why that happened. I don't know what the situation was, but I know that I trust defense over offense. And like I said, man, it's a coin flip, right? Like I think Center's really good. I think Van's really good. I think they're both really good football teams that have a chance to do something in the playoffs when they get there. Especially against the district beside them that other than Pleasant Grove is not good.
Yeah, another advantage they have too is they had a bye week last week, so they'll have 2 weeks to prepare for Van as well. So that'll be a nice advantage.
I just trust Coach Moffitt. Okay, I'm with you. I trust him a lot in this situation.
All right, Christian, we can't hear you. No, we can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
Blink once if you're taking Van. Blink twice if you're taking.
Real quick, while Christian gets that set up.
He says Van. V for Van.
Valentine's.
Is it not V for Van? Not V. So Center. He's
C for Center. Okay.
E-N-T.
Okay.
One thing I'll also say is there was much discussion. We were confused about what to do, but this is the red zone game of the week this week, Van and Center. So I'll be in Van for this one as well. So I get to see the Center guys.
Yeah, you can go say hi to Shires in Wallington.
Yeah.
To give them a shout out. They should have their new nice Netison shirts. We just got them to them last week. So we got Christian back in here. Okay, so that leads us to game 10. One of the biggest rivalries in the area, the 7-mile rivalry of the Tigers of ARP and the Tigers of Troop. Guys, man, I think this is one of those games too a few weeks ago that I would have definitely had Troop. I think they've been kind of railroading people, but they've gotten the district and they haven't beat the brakes off of anybody really. They beat Edgewood by a few touchdowns. They beat Quitman by a few touchdowns, I think. I don't know, man. This is tough. The game is in ARP. So that definitely means something when it comes to a rivalry game. You look at ARP, they've got wins over Carlisle, Joaquin, Tenaha, Winona, Grand Saline. I was impressed by them in Grand Saline. I finally got to Vince and I got to see them in action. Troop, they beat Edgewood and Quitman, both by about the same amount of points, about 3 touchdowns or so. Guys, this is my upset special of the week. I'm going with the ARP Tigers.
Oh, no.
Troop in ARP for the upset.
Oh, no.
I'm not taking ARP.
Surprise, surprise, right?
You gotta be kidding me.
I'm taking Troop. I think Troop stays undefeated. They're playing good football right now. They beat Edgewood Equipment in district play, like you said. Didn't really. I mean, they 20-point wins. I mean, they were big wins. Yes, it's a rivalry game. I just think this district's going to come down to Troop and West Rusk next week for the district championship. So I think Troop comes out this week against ARP, trying to make a statement because of a rivalry game and trying to remain undefeated and set up a district championship next week with West Rusk. So give me the Troop Tigers.
I'm gonna take Troop simply because I work with their running back at Urban Air, but you know, I mean, no, I'm just kidding. No, but no, they have a good offense, and they have their offensive line. I think that's the real reason why they're so good is because like they can really protect up front. Their defense is not nothing to swipe at either. Their defense is good. Their running back Shane, I think he has 2 or 3 Division One. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna take Troop. Sweeney taking ARP. That's not no. Come on, man.
Have you seen
Come
Art play
on.
this year, Mr. Blevins?
I saw them
You have
play
not
one.
seen them play. They look very. Ask Vince. We'll let Vince talk. They look impressive to me. I think we've talked about that. Troop. Their schedule has not been real tough, and so do we really know if Troop's that good? I think it's in a rivalry game. You throw out the records. Okay, you throw the records out. We've talked about that numerous times. It's in ARP. They're coming off a big road win in Grand Saline that they really had to have. They're trying to make the playoffs for the first time in several years. ARPS hasn't made the playoffs in a while. So they're trying to get in. I just think, hey, I won't be surprised if Troop comes in and wins. But I think ARP has a chance, and I think they can pull the upset off. That's why I'm going to go with them.
Okay. ARP is good. They got a receiver. What's his name, Brett?
Zane Bork.
Bork. Okay. I watched this dude get D'd up all night. I mean, you couldn't play better defense on him, and he just you see him follow the ball and he just snags it out of the air. Like I can't explain it no other way. Like the DB is right there with him, but the DB, I guess in a way, I guess the difference is the DB really ain't tracking the ball, or maybe he was, but they right there together. And every time they threw to him, he just took it away from him. And then like after the catch is crazy. Like there was one play he took 2 licks on the sideline, and then he just turned up field and crossed the field, and there was about 3 guys standing there in front of him, and he just outran all 3 of them. And he's amazing. He is amazing. He's amazing.
He plays
But
the game like Madden.
yeah, he plays the game like it's Madden. But I'm gonna say this: I do believe, as good as he is, as good as the quarterback is, that was Grand Saline's game to lose, and that's what they did. And I don't think Troop is gonna do that. I think Troop is a good team. I think both of them are probably, in a way, right now, I feel like they're equals. But I don't think Troop is going. I don't think Troop is going play the game how Grand Saline did. It took Grand Saline about 3 or 4 drives to get going, to get moving. I don't think Troop gonna do that, and I think it's gonna be a close one. But I'm probably just gonna ride with Troop because they 6-0. But I wouldn't be surprised if Art pull this out. I've been bitten by that snake probably 3 or 4 times this year. Every time I pick against Art, they win. But I can't go against Troop in this one. I can't. So I got Troop.
Well, I have some logic here. ARP doesn't have Trey Davis. Troop has Trey Davis. Troop has Shane Jasper, some guys we've seen put up some big numbers this year. They got a veteran quarterback in Heron that's done a lot of things for them over the last few years. I think they're better. But at the end of the day, I'm taking Troop for this sole reason. 2 guys I work with, Nick Harrison, Troop graduate, Kyle Copeland, ARP graduate, and I like Nick a whole lot more than I like Kyle, so I'm going with Troop on this one.
Wow.
I
Wow.
love it. I love it.
Wow.
I love it,
Well,
man.
I will say though, the ARP quarterback Frank Smith's a 4-year starter, Jeremy. So your logic of having more experience.
I don't think they have more experience. I think it's all of it combined. I think it's having Davis, having Jasper,
That's a good
having a
point.
veteran
That's a good
quarterback,
point.
having a coach that's been there for a while. I mean, you know,
And I did find out too the ARP game with West Rusk. ARP had their 2 best tailbacks out, so they've got one of them still out, and they had to move a receiver over. Reed, he was impressive. They moved him from receiver over to running back, and he had a great night. Zeshaun Reed, and so I think
Wade is another one that was really good too.
Wade, yes,
Yeah.
outside.
ARP has some good people. Don't get me wrong. I don't think this is a landslide at all. I can't see picking against Troop. That's my problem. I can't definitively say that Troop has that ARP has this win, even though I watched their talent and what's his name? Frank Smith? Is it Frank Smith?
Frank Smith.
Dude is cold. Dude is cold, but I got a feeling this is gonna be their toughest opponent right here.
Oh, no, my bad. I got rid of my 2-pick and watching the 49er Cowboy game. Anyway, I'm going for the Tigers.
Okay.
The Maroon Tigers.
Okay.
Still nothing.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm going for Troop, baby. Troop all day. Trey Davis, obviously he's probably the best player on both teams. I mean, kid's amazing. Didn't go to Washington State commit. So, Cougs. I mean, it's all good. Hey, it's what it's about. No, I think ARP is on their way. I think, obviously year 2 we kind of suspected year 2 would be a better year for ARP. Rivalry games are always funny. It can be a high score, it can be a low score, it can be turnovers. Whatever happens, there's going to be a lot of people at the game. The Troop band's better than the ARP band, unfortunately. Yeah, it is what it is, man. I'm picking Troop. I'm picking Troop over ARP. And I could be wrong. Smith Dogs proved me wrong a couple of times this year, but I'm picking Troop this time.
He's on the phone for you, Corey. Smink Dog is disappointed in you guys.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Dan Quinn.
Like I said, I picked against him 3 times this year, and he's proved me wrong every single time.
Right.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they get this one. Like I said,
Schmink, we love you, man.
I'm not going against Davis.
We still love you.
I'm not going against him. Yeah, I still love him.
Ain't no hard feelings at all. It's just I this year I'm not picking ARP. Let me say that. This year I'm not picking ARP. They may have them next year. This year I'm not picking.
All right. Christian?
Oh Lord. I really like what Troop has done. Shane Jasper, like I said, not just because I work with him, but Shane Jasper, he's really, really good, and I think that's gonna be the MVP of the game. So I'm gonna go with Troop.
All right. Well, that's the picks for this week. Guys, I'm going to be in Dallas this week for the Dallas Covenant Brook Hill game. First district game for Brook Hill, a big one. Coach Hubbard, I'm sure, is hyped up and ready for that one. Kyle, you said you were going to be in Van, right?
Yeah, it was between Troop and ARP and Van and Center on Game of the Week, and I leaned towards Van Center, and that's what we ultimately ended up going with. So Van Center.
Yeah, those are 2 really good ones. That's why they were the last 2. That's why they were the last 2 games on our pick'em this week.
Yeah.
Vince, you have the week off. What are you doing this Friday night?
I ain't made no plans yet. I don't know what's gonna happen. There's some good games around. I don't know. I might find one. I might not. I don't know yet.
And Christian, tell everybody where you're going to be this week.
Good old Lindale, Texas. Chapel plays Lindale. Like I said earlier, I expect it to be high scoring, 58 to 51 Chapel Hill. But I'm a former Chapel Hill player, so hopefully Lindale fans don't recognize me. So
Might go to the Lindale game.
yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Chapel Hill Lindale game.
Corey, you got any plans for this Friday night?
This Friday, no, it's the Friday after that I got jury duty. Great.
You got jury duty on a Friday?
Yeah. No, when's the 31st?
Is that what they doing now?
I don't know.
31st.
I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. I got jury duty on the 31st.
It's Halloween.
I thought it was
man.
on a Friday. I got ticked off because I postponed it this last time. I just listen, Christian. I'm gonna tell you something. Listen, you're gonna start getting these things in the mail. They're called jury summons. All right. Now it's your civic duty to go to these things. All right. And it's just, I'm just saying, it's tedious. It's very tedious, but you got to do it. That's all I'm saying.
Unless you have kids.
And you get paid $6.
Yeah, you get kids, you get to get out of them, like me.
Does anybody really take the money when they offer it to you, though?
Absolutely. I'll take my $6 every single time.
I do.
I just donate it. I just donate it back. Come on.
That used to be enough for lunch, but now it's only.
Godly, how much is it?
I just donate it back.
No, I take my.
It depends on how I'm feeling that day. It depends on how I'm feeling that day. It depends on how I'm feeling that day.
You made me drive up here and sit in this room for 2 hours. I'm getting my $6
just to get $6.
$6. I'm not gonna give it back to him.
I'm ready.
I gotta be there anyway.
It's for the kids.
You made me wait 6 hours for hiding.
I had a buddy of mine, probably about 5 or 6 years ago. He got picked to go on trial, and
he got picked. Hey, wait a minute. They pick you to go on trial.
That's my biggest fear. That is my biggest fear.
They did not settle, and
fear.
he was there for 3 weeks.
So he got.
Was he guilty or not guilty?
I don't remember the verdict, but it had something to do with somebody robbing a gas station or something like that. I think I don't remember.
He's guilty
exactly what it was, but because they thought he was going to get settled out of court. And
if I ever go to jury duty and they pick me to be on,
we thought he was joking. We were like, man, ain't no way you got picked. Nobody ever gets picked for stuff like that. And he was like, I gotta go back.
They're guilty that day. If I get picked, they're guilty that day. I don't care what. I don't care how many times we vote.
Still hadn't realized what he said yet.
He has no idea.
Okay, you know what? Take that $6. If you got 2 kids, take that $6. Go to McDonald's, get them 2 chicken sandwiches, and just that'll be their dinner for the night. But $6 is crazy. I if I have to sit up there for 2 hours, I at least need 30 because
you got a long way. You got a lot to learn, my man.
You got
you got a whole lot to learn.
All the way down.
You don't have to sit up there. You get to sit up there. It's a choice. It's opportunity. You can choose not to go.
Yeah. You can choose. Yeah, you can pay a fine.
That's going to do it for the Power Plus Mouth Guard Beast from the East show. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us this morning. For Kyle, Jeremy, Corey, Vince, and Christian, we'll catch you next week. Good luck in your pick'ems this week and this week.
10-0.
It's for the kids. It's for the kids.
Truly, before now, I didn't really know what actually a mouthpiece was designed for other than to keep you from clinking your teeth together or biting your tongue. I had no idea that it was to align your jaw. The season that we did not use the Power Plus, we lost 4 kids, 2 that were season-ending concussions, and obviously we contributed to the Power Plus mouth guard because, like I said, we've not had one since we've been using them. Obviously, we've competed a lot better than what we did last year. We have not had a concussion this season. Obviously, a tremendous factor for us for not losing kids, and their performance level is a lot higher as well. My son was actually the quarterback on the second state championship team, but one of the things that he was able to do as being the quarterback, the mouth guard was on the lower part of his bite, so he was able to speak clearly. And that's a huge thing in athletics, is to be able to communicate.